One Health is a term that describes how human, environmental, and animal health are all interconnected. What you do to one affects everything else.
One Health, in one word, to me, I would define as interconnection.
One Health flies in the face of inexorable capitalism to try and find a way to define what our values are. And that's not just our health, but the health of animals as the veterinarians initially imagined it, but then also encompassing plants and the environment.
The concept of One Health is actually not a new concept. The Greek physician Hippocrates actually described how human health was affected by a clean environment over 2,000 years ago. In recent years, we've seen members of the veterinary, medical, and public health associations come together to form task forces and commissions to study and promote this idea.
Right now, we are smothering the planet in plastic. It is estimated that by 2030 that, for every 3 pounds of fish, there's going to be 1 pound of plastic in the ocean, and by 2050 it could be 1 to 1, which is astounding. I'd rather catch fish than plastic. These are things that we have to address, and we can no longer live in a throwaway society.
When you look at some of the major critical issues that we have in the world today, human health issues were things like obesity, diabetes, cancer, heart disease. These are all related to lifestyles. If you look at issues, some of the major environmental issues we have related to animals, such as loss of habitats and loss of biodiversity, again, this is something that's a repercussion of the way we live. So it's very important that we figure out how do we reconnect ourselves to nature and understand how can we live in better harmony with nature. And in doing so, really reinforce this idea that these things are connected and we have to be cognizant of what we do and how it impacts them.
I think the best evidence that we have is looking at the major diseases that humans face these days and what are the best ways to combat or prevent them. A lot of the best medicines that we have are really prevention of these diseases in the first place by pursuing a more active lifestyle in more contact with the environment, getting out and walking, spending time in your parks, having access to clean water and clean air. All of these things are perhaps more effective than a lot of the prescription drugs that are currently the first go-to in terms of how to prevent or reverse the effects of these diseases.
There's just so many things going on, and if we renaturalize the world at the same time that we manage our own lives well, conserving energy, conserving open spaces, using efficient agriculture, cleaner industries. If we get the incentives right, we can start seeing problems go away, and we can start seeing remnant populations of native plants and animals coming back and regaining their health, just as our children become healthier and more stimulated.
Really, since the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, we've had this mindset that we're going to conquer nature. And that's the kind of mindset that's been driving a lot of the things that we've done, and that's led to us being so disconnected from nature that we don't even recognize that we're totally out of tune with what's going on with the rest of the world. And that's had a huge impact on the environment, a lot of the environmental problems we've had. It's had huge impact on ourselves, a lot of the human health issues that we've had, and it's also had a huge impact on animals and things like loss of biodiversity and loss of habitats. So we've got to reverse this. We've got to figure out how do we change the mindset that we have. We're not going to conquer nature. We have to figure out how to live in harmony with nature. And once we figure that out, we're going to see this whole idea of One Health come together as truly a way of making sure that people, planet, and animals, and all the species on the planet that we share this planet with are going to be healthier.